In this video, we are going to be talking about the cost of living in Cameroon. This is a requested video from a subscriber, and to better explain the cost of living in Cameroon, we are going to be looking at 5 things: the accommodation, the transportation, the food, the healthcare, education, and an extra bonus tip coming up right next.
Would you be my? I still got a lot of shit to learn.
What up guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're a new visitor, you're very much welcome. Feel free to join the family by hitting the red subscribe button below this video, and equally make sure you turn on the notification so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, to explain all these things, accommodation, transportation, medical care, and so on and so forth, is going to make this video extremely long. So I'm going to split this video in 2 parts. The first part, I'm going to talk about accommodation, food, and transportation, and then the second part, I'm going to talk about healthcare, education, and the extra bonus tip. So without wasting much of your time, let's dive into the video. Number 1, accommodation. Accommodation in Cameroon depends on the area where you intend living. If you intend living in the big cities like Douala, Yaoundé, Biya, and so on and so forth, then accommodation might be a little bit expensive compared to the countryside or the suburbs. On an average, a 2-bedroom apartment in the cities such as Douala, Yaoundé can cost from 50,000 francs to 250,000 francs, again depending on the facilities in the apartment. Now, a single room in the big cities like Douala, Yaoundé can cost from 10,000 francs to 80,000 francs, again depending on the facilities involved in the room and so on and so forth, because there are some rooms that have toilet, kitchen, balcony, and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, they are just empty rooms, just rooms with no kitchen room. So it really depends on the facilities in the room. Now in Cameroon, we have what we call furnished apartment, meublé. That's what I call it in French. So if you want to stay in a furnished apartment, it can cost you from 30,000 to 100,000 francs per day. Yes, furnished apartment, no be joke, it's expensive. So it can cost you from 30,000 to 100,000 francs. Again, depending on where it is located. Now, we equally have studios like a room and a living room, a bedroom and a living room. Is a decent studio in Cameroon, like in the big cities like Douala, Yaoundé, Biya, Limbe, Garo, and so on. It can cost you from 25,000 francs to 150,000 francs for a studio. So it really depends on where you want to live. If you don't have enough money, it is just preferable you look for a small studio in the countryside or the suburbs and just go and start living with it if you don't want to headache. But if you want to live like in the city center, then you should be ready to pay for it, because it does not come cheap. Now let's talk about food. Food in Cameroon is generally cheaper if you cook your own meals. But if you prefer to eat outside, then you have to be ready to pay the bills. So let me just say, for example, a complete breakfast in a roadside cafeterias. You know, in Cameroon there are roadside cafeterias and eateries here and there. So a complete breakfast of bread, omelette, and maybe tea can cost from 600 francs. I was about to say 600,000. 600 francs to 1,000 francs. Yes, in a roadside restaurant. But if you want to go to a decent, clean restaurant, classic restaurant, it can cost from 1,500 to 3,000 francs for the same menu. So it really depends on what you want. The same thing goes with lunch. A plate of like a decent plate of Cameroonian jollof rice with chicken in a roadside restaurant can cost like 800 francs to up to 1,500 francs. And the same menu in a decent, clean, classic restaurant in town can cost like from 2,000 to 4,000 or 5,000, really depending on the area where the restaurant is located. So that's it for food. Now let's talk grocery shopping. Now, when it comes to grocery shopping in Cameroon, imported goods are way expensive than locally made goods, like goods that are locally made in Cameroon. So, like for example, a loaf of bread can cost from 100 francs up to 1,000 francs depending on the size and the quality of the bread. A kilogram of meat can cost from 2,000 francs to 3,000 francs in a supermarket. But if you go to a local market, like in the neighborhood, local markets in the neighborhood, it can cost a kilogram of meat can cost like 2,500 francs. Now the same thing applies with fish. A kilogram of fish in the local market can cost like from 1,500 to 2,500 francs. A tray of egg can cost from 1,500 to 2,000 francs. Juice, a liter of natural juice can cost from 500 to 2,500 francs per liter. A vegetable oil can cost from 1,500 francs per liter. Spaghetti can cost from 500 to 1,000 francs per kilogram. So it really depends on the brand you're going for, because branded goods are more expensive than, you understand what I mean, than locally made goods. So if you are going for the branded goods and so on, then you should be ready to pay a little bit higher than the locally made goods. With regards to transportation, if you own a car, and then all what you need to do is just to put fuel, and a liter of fuel in Cameroon costs from 600 francs to 800 francs, really depending on the area where you want to buy your fuel, because there are some fuel stations that are way cheaper because they're doing promotions and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, there are those established fuel stations that they have standard prices, and it can cost anything from 600 francs to 800 francs depending on where you're buying your fuel. Now, if you don't have a car, you're forced to use either a taxi or you're forced to use a bike. Now, a taxi fare in Cameroon can cost from 250 francs up to 2,000 francs, really depending on the distance. Let me say, for example, a distance of less than 5 kilometers can cost from 250 francs to 1,000 francs, depending on if there is traffic on your direction or not. So it really depends. Now, a distance of more than 5 kilometers can cost from 500 up to 2,500 francs. Now, you can equally hire a taxi. If you hire a taxi for 1 hour in Cameroon, you're going to pay 3,000 francs. Yes. So if you want a taxi for the entire day, you're going to pay, you just calculate the amounts, 3,000 times 24 hours if you want it for 24 hours. Or if you want it for 5 hours, you just take 3,000 times 5, then you get the amount. So to hire a taxi in Cameroon is 3,000 francs per hour. In Cameroon, to move from one city to the other, you have to use a bus. Yes, we have these interurban buses. So let me say, for example, you want to leave from Douala to Yaoundé, Douala is the economic capital of Cameroon and Yaoundé is the political capital. So if you want to move from Douala to Yaoundé, it can cost you like 2,500 francs to 8,000 francs. Like if you want to take a VIP bus, it's 8,000 francs. And then if you want to just go with a normal bus, and you're going to pay like 2,500 francs, 3,000 in some agencies. So it really depends on your income. The same thing applies with if you want to travel like from Yaoundé to the northwest or to the north, the distance is longer, so you're going to pay higher. Like on an average, like from Yaoundé to the north can cost from 20,000 to 40,000, and from Yaoundé to the northwest can cost like 10,000 to 20,000. It really depends on so many things, so many things. I cannot explain every detail here, but that's the average prices for transportation in Cameroon. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to know more about the cost of living in Cameroon, then you have to check the part 2 of this video, because in the part 2 I'll be talking about the education, the healthcare, and the extra bonus tip. So you might want to check the part 2 of this video to know more about the cost of living in Cameroon.